Oh,
Alphabet.
A, B, C, D.
No, in your normal voice, how you're going to be talking.
Okay. I'm bad at this. Yeah,
Where'd you grow up?
Brookhaven, Mississippi. So I'm very far away from home. And
Ooh, feedback.
I live down the street from my grandparents, around the corner from my cousins, and around the corner from my other cousins.
That actually happens around here too.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, small town mentality. But I guess this isn't very small. I come from a town of 12,000 people, so this is like a big city to me.
Don't move to Boston
Yeah.
or New York.
No, I visited New York, but I did not like it that much. But I do like, I've been to the city a few times here, and I like it. I live in Watertown, so I'm closer.
Oh, okay. Hi, and welcome to Something to Talk About. We are going to have a very interesting conversation coming up. With fall comes apple picking. With apple picking comes all these wonderful things you could do with apples and pumpkins and, well, you know, pumpkin. But anyway, we will be talking about healthy choices and how to develop a healthy lifestyle, including food. But you need to wait one moment for that because we have a little bit of housekeeping to take care of. Welcome to Something to Talk About. My name is Linda McNamee, and I would like to start out by thanking the cast and crew, mostly crew, and staff of the show and of BCAT. I want to thank Corey McNeil, who is one of the staff members here, who helps me and the rest of us volunteers get the show up and running and rolling and looking good. I also want to thank Colleen Moore, who is Director Extraordinaire. And some other volunteers that we have Maddie Shipka and Melissa Shipka and Gia, and I'm sorry, Gia, I forgot your last name and I didn't write it down. But the three of them are here to help volunteer. They give up their Wednesday nights to come to BCAT and make some live television. And last but not least, I would like to thank my husband, Paul, for staying home for Daddy Date Night. Hopefully the kids haven't driven you totally insane yet. So have a good night, kids. I love you, and thank you, Paul. And now, one more thing. Two more things. If you happened to think of a future topic, or if you have any questions about tonight's topic, you can always email me and just let me know that you're watching. you can email me at talk@bcattv.org. Or if you have a question right now and would like to give us a call, you can always talk to us at 781-270-9199. Did I get that right? Yes, I did. I never call because I'm here. So now, business aside, I would like to welcome Amanda Moak.
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 Yes.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I should have checked that. Who is this semester's Boston Food Justice Young Adult Volunteer. Correct?
This year.
This year.
Yeah. I'm
Okay,
here
so it's a whole
yeah,
year
11
program.
months. So
Close enough to a year.
yes.
We need some time off for good behavior.
Yes.
So thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And for the next less than an hour, we will be talking about the program, and we will be talking about your involvement in the program and how you came here, as well as what you do to, or what you plan on doing 11 months from now. So, are we ready?
Yeah, that
Okay.
sounds good.
Well, first of all, I'd like to find out a little bit more about you. So basically, where you grew up, where you went to school, and how you eventually showed up in Burlington.
Well, I am originally from Brookhaven, Mississippi, and it's really funny because a lot of people tell me, you don't have a Southern accent.
You don't have a Southern
Everyone's
accent.
like, I thought you were from New England, and I don't know what's wrong with me, or
Nothing's wrong with you.
if I'm not Southern at heart, I guess. But I was born and raised in Brookhaven, Mississippi, and I went to college at Rhodes College in Memphis, Tennessee, and a lot of people also know it as Southwestern before the name got changed.
Oh, okay. Oh, another one of those name change
Yeah.
schools.
But I spent the last 4 years in Memphis, and I completely fell in love with the city.
Oh, excellent.
And it's one of my favorite places to be. But I knew that I had to leave after school, or I would be one of those people who came back a lot.
Professional student.
Yeah, and I was like, I can't have that. Maybe in a few years. So
So what did you major in?
I'm a history major,
A history
actually.
major, okay.
And that's one of the reasons that I chose to do the Young Adult Volunteer Program. I actually didn't know what I wanted to do, and I'm still not sure. But
I graduated over 25 years ago, and I'm still trying to figure it out. So.
Exactly, yeah. And so when people look at me and say, Amanda, do you want to be a teacher, or you're going to law school, right? I always say, no.
No.
So that's how I guess I ended up looking into the program. One of my friends who graduated a year before me did the program, not here, she was in New Orleans.
Oh,
and
okay.
she posted on Facebook, she said, if anyone has any interest in what I'm doing or, wants to know more about the program, please let me know. I'd be happy to talk about it. So I called her up and asked her, and the next thing I know, I'm sending in my application. So,
So it is the food. Is it like the Food Justice Volunteer Program?
no, it's the Young Adult Volunteer Program is a national and international program.
Okay, so that's the cutoff. Okay.
Yeah.
It's international as well?
Yeah, I think there's about 9 countries that
Okay.
people go to, and it's a faith-based organization, so it's with the Presbyterian Church, the PCUSA Church.
Okay.
And,
Now, do you have to be a practicing Presbyterian in order to apply?
No, I am actually not Presbyterian.
Okay.
So you don't have to be, but I guess in some cases it helps, I guess, to know like what's going on. I went to my first Presbyterian meeting the other week, and I was just sitting there in awe. I was not sure what was happening at all. But no, you don't have to be Presbyterian to apply. I've been like comparing it to AmeriCorps because people are more familiar with AmeriCorps.
Okay.
So basically, it's a year of volunteer service, and with this program, it just happens to be connected like with the church. And so I'm living like in an intentional community. I have 2 roommates who work in other locations in Boston.
As part of the
Yes.
Young Adult Volunteer Program
Yes.
as well? The YAV program. I like
The
that.
YAV program. Yeah, that's what I like to call it.
I like that.
But yes, and food justice is unique to Boston. This is the only site. This is one of the only sites too where all of the different sites like focus on a similar topic. So other sites like could be someone's working in a homeless shelter, but someone could be working like with like a lawyer, like in a law office.
Okay,
like
so it's almost like the Peace Corps, but a national, domestic version.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's why I've been calling it
AmeriCorps. Yeah,
exactly. So.
Okay. Now, when you apply, do you specify I want to go to New England or I want to work in like the agricultural based, or I don't care, just send me somewhere?
Well, with the first application, you don't. You just apply. And then when you decide like that you're for sure gonna be a part of the program, you interview with different sites. And so I interviewed with about 3 sites, and it's really funny because at first I was like set on staying in the South. I was like, that's where I want to be. Like I know it down here. You want to
be in Tennessee.
I love it down here. Yeah. And so my top 2 choices originally were New Orleans and Nashville. So the head of the program, like when I had my original conversation with her, she told me they really like people to branch out, like to go further away from home. Like it's easier because
out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly. In the first 6 months, like you're not allowed to travel. Like we're with like our intentional community and with our sites and making relationships and bonds. And so they said it's easier like the further away from your family you are. And so then I heard about, because New Orleans is literally an hour and a half south of me. So I could go home anytime. And Nashville is, I mean, it's about 6 hours, but that's not so far, you know. But here,
it's a plane ticket.
A plane ticket away and still a few hours.
And when you're volunteering, a plane ticket is a challenge.
It's a lot, so then I heard, she told me about this program. And it really caught my eye because when I lived in Memphis and when I went to Rhodes, I worked with a street newspaper. I don't know if you know what that is. So it's a newspaper that, our newspaper was called The Bridge, and the tagline was bridging the gap between homeless and sheltered.
Is that kind of like the Metro in Boston?
Maybe, I'm not.
That they hand out at the subways?
Sort of, yeah. And so what happens is like the vendors are like local homeless people, and they come and pick up the papers at the beginning of the month for free, and you sell them for $1. This is how we did it. And then every Thursday you could come back to distribution for the month and buy newspapers for $0.25 and then sell them for $1 and like keep the profit. And so it was working to help people find shelter, because a lot of times when you stay in a shelter you have to pay for the night and like pay to use showers and stuff. And so this way we were helping people find shelter, but also helping like people get cleaned up for job interviews and stuff like that when, you know, it was really important. And so I worked with a partner in a soup kitchen advertising for the paper, and it was really interesting to me to see how this one part of Memphis treated its homeless and hungry population. And so when I heard about the food justice program, I was like, well, that sounds awesome, and I'm really interested to see how it works in other cities. And so hopefully it's something I would be interested in further beyond this year.
Well, after 6 months, after spending a winter in New England, you'll probably want to go back to Tennessee. But
I did have to purchase a winter coat because I did not own winter clothes and also winter boots. So.
And you're already wearing them. No.
Not yet. I'm trying to hold out.
Okay, now in order to apply for the program, do you have to be a college graduate? Could it count toward? Could it be like an internship where you get college credit for it, or?
I'm not sure about college credit, but the young adult volunteer program really aims for people between the ages of 19 and 30. So you could be just out of high school, you could be a few years out of college. Like one of my roommates is 26. She's been out of school for a few years, and she decided that she needed a change. So she decided to do this. So it's really open to anyone, you know, as long as you're a young adult.
Now with your student, if you were to have student loans, is there like a grace period? Because if you're volunteering, you don't have an income, and they just
I was
postpone it, or?
Yeah, I was able to postpone my student loans because, you know, I got a lot of student loans for about 6 months. And then there's a program that you can apply to. I'm not really sure. I can't remember what it's called. Like when you're volunteering like this to help you pay student loans. And so like depending on how much you owe a month and like what you're doing and like, I don't know how much your stipend is and stuff, like they'll pay a certain amount and then you pay a certain amount. So.
Well, that's helpful.
Yeah.
Make sure you have that on your calendar so you apply for it.
Very helpful.
Okay, so what is the food justice? We talked a lot about the young adult volunteer program. Can you tell me a little bit more about what the food justice program does?
Yeah. I think a lot of people think that food justice is only like working in a soup kitchen or working in a pantry, and I do spend like the majority of my time in the pantry.
Okay, because you do volunteer for Burlington
Yeah,
Food Pantry,
I
which is
do.
kind of how I found out about
Exactly.
the program.
Exactly.
Or about
but
you.
the whole idea behind food justice though is being sure that everyone has like the capability and access to safe, healthy food, but also and affordable food too.
Okay.
Because healthy choices are always more expensive, and so it's
I've
easier.
often wondered why, but
Yeah, I couldn't tell you, but
yeah, I know. I'm not expecting an answer.
I wondered that myself, and I'm always like, I don't know. You would think it'd be more expensive because sometimes it tastes better, but
I'm like, okay, so you're telling me that bacon double cheeseburger
Yeah.
is less money than the nice big healthy salad.
Yeah, exactly.
Guess where I'm going.
But the other part of it is like knowing where your food comes from, and like knowing who grew your food and how they're being treated, or how it's all about, I guess, supporting small business and local farmers and being sure like people get paid what they deserve. And like people in like the food service industry, like knowing how restaurants are treating like the workers in those places, and like knowing how the meat that you eat is being treated and
So you're probably learning a whole bunch about GMOs.
Oh yeah,
lately.
Yeah, definitely, and watching a lot of very scary documentaries. So
yeah.
But,
So I was reading the website and also the little that I had learned about you before your appearing, and you're working at the food pantry.
Yes.
You're partnering a little bit with the CSA, and you're working a little bit with the community garden.
Yes.
And now, do you decide what areas you want to work in, or is that part of the program where it says you will work with this, or how do you figure out your job description? I think that's what I'm getting at.
It was pretty hard at first, but it was set up pretty nicely when I came in, and it's really cool to see how all of the different organizations that I'm working for like come together. Because I work at the CSA, like I see you every week at the CSA.
You missed me yesterday though, Monday. We went to the Topsfield Fair.
Okay, I was wondering where you were.
So yes, we went to the Topsfield Fair. It's a family tradition.
Okay.
My birthday present from the family is they take me to the Topsfield Fair.
Oh, that's nice.
And I had lots of fries, but I did not touch the fried dough.
Man,
So
I would
very
have
proud
gone
of
straight
myself.
for the fried dough.
I wanted to, trust me. So that's why I missed you on Monday.
Yes, but so I work for the CSA, and what happens is
Now, do you just work at pickup, or do you actually do some of the food distribution?
I do not really do any. I help set it up beforehand, and I help pick it up after. But you know how there's like a choice style that you can do, and then you have the prepackaged bins, and then you have the fruit that you can pick. So what happens is with the choice style, they bring extra stuff so people have different choices in case like more people want to pick like peppers, and so they pack more peppers and stuff. And so all of the food left over, usually from the choice style, and sometimes there are a few extra bins if people don't come that week, and there's usually extra fruit too.
There's also like the swap bin too.
Yeah. All of that food.
I don't need 27 cucumbers.
I know. Everyone's been putting back the dill and the cilantro. But
there's only so much you can do with dill.
I know.
After 4 weeks in a row.
I actually had to make a sign that said more ways to cook with dill and put 6 recipes on it, because all of that food goes to the food pantry.
Okay.
And so when I work at the food pantry, I guess I'll go to the garden first, because the garden is what's connected to the chamber. Like it's a lot of it's funded by the, let me see if I can get this right. The Burlington Area Chamber of Commerce Charitable Commission, Charitable Foundation, I think. So, so they got a grant to help fund the garden and to help put the shed in.
Which is over like behind Francis Wyman School.
Yes. And so when we go there, if you don't have a plot for your family, like all of it is a volunteer plot, and all of that food also goes to the food pantry.
Oh, okay. So I don't know whether you're well versed enough to talk about, you buy a plot,
I'm not really sure how that
guess
works. I know
for a
that
plot,
you reserve a plot, like if you want
Okay.
one, and I think you have to pay for it, but I'm
Okay.
not positive.
Okay.
But some families,
That's another show.
yeah, some families do have plots, but then the rest of it like is for the community to volunteer in, and the food, and like a lot of times like they had classes for kids at different schools, and they went out and they planted vegetables, and they came out and they tended to the vegetables, and those vegetables also went to the food pantry. And so on distribution day, which is every Wednesday, I get to set up all the fresh food, all the fresh fruits and vegetables, and when people come through, basically what we say is take what you can use. And I say, if you have any questions.
Have some dill.
Yeah, exactly. I'm always say, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me, because I officially know all of the vegetables. I can tell you what they are, and I can tell you what they taste like and how to cook them, because we're really hoping to
Darn, I should have brought you home with me the other night.
I could have absolutely helped you. I feel
Pulling
like
stuff out of the bit. What is this? And there's pictures on the wall going, doesn't look like anything.
I know. The first week, I think we got a kohlrabi, and we had to Google it because we had no clue.
Sounds like a character from Star Trek.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And we ended up putting it in a soup, and it was pretty good. But basically, what we're trying to do is give people the option of fresh, healthy food, because a lot of food that's donated to the pantry, it's shelf-stable stuff, and it lasts.
There's only so many things you can do with peanut butter and pasta.
Exactly, and
maybe
so
not together, but
and it lasts a long time, and often it's not as good for you as you would want it to be. And so by doing this, we have the option of giving people, at least for a period of time during the month, like healthy food and access to healthy food, and hopefully like a healthier lifestyle if they choose.
Now, is it another tangent, is it a requirement, or is it suggested that if a family uses the services of the pantry, are they required to provide some service to the garden? And payment?
I'm not really sure how that works. I know that Jane goes out to the garden on Wednesday mornings, and a lot of times people come out and help. Like, you sign up to volunteer at the garden. So I don't know if clients of the pantry have before, but I know some of them, I'm pretty sure, are interested in it. And it's really cool to see a lot of clients actually come volunteer at the pantry on days when it isn't distribution day, which is, I think, really cool.
So is distribution of the garden stuff at the garden, or does Jane staff members pick it and then
we
kind of like the
it,
whole CSA thing?
Yeah, we harvest it usually on Wednesday morning. It rained this morning, so we did it yesterday afternoon. But we harvest it and bring it in and sort it and put it out on shelves, and we put it out with the farmer date stuff. So
fun.
Yeah.
So it's the community garden is a partnership, or is organized by the chamber?
I'm pretty sure that's what I've
They're
come
linked
to.
together
Yeah,
somehow.
that's how I've come to understand it.
So how's the church involved? How's the Presbyterian Church involved?
I think mostly I work with them through the CSA. And I go to church every Sunday and go to coffee hour after, and I feel like I've really started
do you have to go to the Presbyterian Church in Burlington?
Yeah, that's where I go. Yeah, I go there.
I wasn't sure, since you're living in Watertown, if it would make more sense to...
and the Presbyterian in Boston is, I think it's pretty small, so there aren't as many Presbyterian churches as there would be more south of here. And so I go to the Presbyterian Church in Burlington, and I go to the coffee hour, and I feel like I've really made relationships with these people, and that's really, I think, my part in the church. And I think I might teach a class about food justice, and I have a bulletin board I think they're going to give me to work on to put up food-related things. I know that there was a YAV here last year. Last year was the first year for the program, and he had a bulletin
first year
board.
Overall, or first year for here?
Boston. Yeah. And I know he had a bulletin board there, and he taught a Sunday school class to the kids. And right now I'm writing like a short article for the newsletter for the church to tell like what I've been doing and how I've been like active in the city and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So.
And what are your future plans?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I kind of diverted. I'm like the queen of tangents. That's why I have my cheat sheet here. Now, the YAV program. I like that.
Yeah.
How long has that been around? Because you said the Boston one, the food justice is fairly new to this area. This is the second year. How long has the...
I actually looked that up for you today.
Thank you.
I was not positive. It's been around, this is the 30th year.
Okay.
And there were about, we had like orientation before we started. It was in Stony Point, New York. And so all of us went, all of the first year YAVs. You can apply for a second year if you want. Okay. So there were about 90 first year YAVs at Stony Point for orientation. And we all went to different cities in America and different cities around the world. And then...
So there are 90 sites. It's... So what,
no,
like
not
two people ever go to the same place?
No, it's not 90 sites. It's, I don't really know how many sites it is, but like here in Boston, there are 3 of us.
Okay, and that's kind of what I was getting at.
And then like...
You don't work alone.
No, in Austin, Texas, there are like 7 people. Like it's just different everywhere. I think Boston is a little bit smaller because it's newer.
It's fairly new.
But but some people like Miami has 7 or 8 people. Like they're usually, I think, a little bit bigger.
And they're all linked to Presbyterian churches? Okay.
Yeah.
So, other than your friend on Facebook, does the YAF program actively recruit, like either through the churches or through the colleges, or how did your friend find out about it? Do you know?
I think from...
Is it just word of mouth?
Yeah, I think from what I've gathered, it's mostly word of mouth. Like she is a Presbyterian, and she was her family was part of the Presbytery in Texas, and that's how my roommate found out about it, just through their churches. Okay. So I don't really know if it's like broadcast, like active recruiting, but like once I called and like asked to talk about it and started filling out my application, like they were very welcoming and very supportive, like the whole like staff. They were very welcoming, very supportive, like very encouraging. So
now you had mentioned that 90 of you were new recruits and there were some returning. Is there a cap as to how many years you're allowed to return, or is it usually just whenever you realize you can't put off your student loans anymore?
I'm not actually sure about that. I think the most that I've ever heard is 2 years. But I'm sure if you wanted to do a third year, you could.
Because I'm, pulling out the Peace Corps thing, and I think it's like a minimum commitment of 2 years. And a friend of mine actually did it in Romania, and then she went to like Guatemala for 2 years or something, or the other way around. And I'm like, wow, I don't know if I could just pack up my life for that long.
No, yeah.
So 1 year is good.
Yeah, one year is great.
1 year is good. So I think we've kind of touched upon this, but one of my questions was, what ways does the program provide healthy and sustainable food for all? I mean, all seems kind of broad.
Yeah.
And is it, just CSAs, or is it, through lectures? Is it through books or websites? Or how do you distribute this information that you're trying to reach, and who's your target audience?
Yeah.
I know that was kind of a lot.
I think my main focus, my main genre of people are the people who are clients at the food pantry.
Okay.
But through the Chamber of Commerce and the community garden, we are having different programs. Like, actually, this would be a very good time to advertise. On October 16th, I think 2 Thursdays from now, or maybe next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
We're having a showing of A Place at the Table.
Okay. I think your predecessor did that.
Yes, he did, yeah. Thursday is World Food Day. So
the 16th?
Yes.
Okay.
So we decided that it would be a good time to re-show the movie, because it really shows, it gives a clear picture of what hunger looks like in America, and a lot of times it's not necessarily what you think.
So it's not all the starving kids in Africa that you want to send your leftovers to.
Exactly.
Like the parent guilt.
Yeah, no, it's families here and people who have jobs but can't necessarily afford to feed their families still on the wages that they make. And so we thought it would be a good time to show the movie again, like in honor of the day, World Food Day, to show that even though some people do have enough, a lot of people don't. And so we're showing it at the church, at the Presbyterian Church. And I think it's on Cambridge Street. It's right down the road from here. And it's 6:30 Sunday night in the Thursday night in the fellowship hall.
Okay. So Thursday night, October 16th.
At 6:30.
At 6:30. Bring your own popcorn.
Yes.
Okay. Healthy snacks will be provided. No, I shouldn't say that. I don't know. No. Scrap that. Bring your own food.
But we're doing things like that, and we want to start hopefully soon having cooking demonstrations because
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Yeah, because a lot of times people see these foods and they're like, well, okay, what do I do with it now?
What do I do with all this dill?
Exactly. No, that's what we kept saying, which is why I had to look up the dill recipes. But we're hoping like maybe to do like a seasonal cooking demonstration.
Because right now I really need to find stuff to do with apples.
Exactly, yeah, with apples or like with squash or with pumpkin even, because you can eat a pumpkin, but a lot of people don't know that, you know? And so...
Well, can you eat any kind of pumpkin? Because, you know, you go to the grocery store and they're like, okay, sugar pumpkins are here, and then these pumpkins are here, and then these pumpkins are here, and then you get the pumpkin with like the weird stuff on it, and you're like, oh, that looks like moldy or something, you know.
I know that you can eat most pumpkin gourd squash, but there are some ornamental gourds that are not edible. And then some of the pumpkins grown for carving or the small ones for like cute decorations are not always edible. Like you can eat them, but you probably like it wouldn't taste very good. But just like learning stuff like that. And we want to open it to everyone, not just clients at the pantry, to show like everyone like you can cook seasonally and like do it in a place that's like open ground for everyone. So like anyone can come, anyone can feel comfortable, like, and everyone's there to learn and to take part.
So you said seasonally. Does that mean like for a year? Or?
Like maybe that's what I was thinking. We've like just started thinking about it and like just gotten into it.
Yet.
It hasn't happened yet, but that's like one of my hopeful goals for the year. Like that's I would like to do it, and I would like to hopefully find the resources to do it.
Yeah, I mean, would you hold it at the pantry? Could you hold it at the church? I mean, have you even gotten that far yet?
That's one of the hangups. We want to look for a place that has like teaching kitchens. So like you can watch, but you can also participate. So like you can be, because like a lot of times like people watch the cooking channel and they think, oh wow, that's really easy. And then they try to do it themselves like afterwards. And you're like, wait a second, that's not very easy. So like we think that
it doesn't look like the picture.
I don't think it tastes how it's supposed to taste. So we think that hopefully if we can find a place to have like the demonstration happening, but you doing it as well, you'll take away skills that not only like you can do with like the one thing right here, but also like branch out and do other things too.
If you could do it with pumpkin, you can do it with butternut squash.
Exactly, yeah.
And you can, you know, if you did it with zucchini, you can, well, everything you can do with zucchini.
Yeah, that's one of those vegetables.
And I heard eggplant's the same thing, but I found a great eggplant recipe and I'm sticking to it. You know, just don't bother me about any more details.
Yeah, eggplant's one of those vegetables that like you have to be careful about. It can either be really good or really bad.
I found a really good one. So in other words, you're telling me I should quit while I'm ahead.
Probably.
Okay. All right. Got that. Okay. Now, do we finish talking about the cooking?
I think so.
The cooking
Unless
class.
You have another question about it.
Well, no, I was just wondering, you know, we had talked about how the program is affiliated with the Presbyterian Church, and you by default have been welcomed into that family. Do other members of the parish, of the church, get involved in the program at all? I mean, do you try recruiting volunteers to help you with the cooking classes or anything?
Well, at the CSA, all of the volunteers that you see there, except for the person who comes from the farm to deliver everything, they actually are members of the church.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah, we they're all members, and I know that some of the members come in and volunteer, and like when Wegmans gave their big delivery.
I
their
saw
big,
that.
Yeah, 6,000 pounds last Friday. A lot of members of the church came and helped sort it.
That's
and
a lot of
box
food.
stuff.
Now, was it all produce, or was it like
No,
just food pantry stuff, or
it was
a little bit of everything?
mainly food pantry stuff. It was like shelf-stable stuff that the pantry had, like there was a need for, and they asked for it, and Wegmans provided. So, and I think there's going to be 2 more deliveries like that in the future. So, not right now, but in a few months. Future. Yeah.
When Wegmans finally opens.
Yeah.
No, that's great. You know, it's now someone in your position, in your role. Would you try going out and actively recruiting businesses like Wegmans to partner with the food pantry? Would that be something on your radar?
That's not something that I necessarily do. I really work with just like the produce and the fresh foods and stuff. Okay. But that's what Jane and Christy, the coordinators, do.
Okay.
They get in touch, and a lot of times too, different businesses get in touch with them, which is how Wegmans got in touch with them, and like they have contacts with Whole Foods, and Whole Foods, like, you know how they have like the buffet where you can make your own meal if you want. Well, at the end of the day, when they're done with that food, they freeze it down, and one day a week they deliver it to the pantry, and then the other days of the week they deliver it to other places.
Oh, neat.
And it's the same with like Panera and the leftover bread, or Starbucks and leftover pastries and stuff. So they have contacts out. Yeah, every time I see them unload them, that's the look I get on my face. But so yeah, they do have contacts with different organizations and different companies and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at my list going, we're just, throw the script out the window. Back to the food, the garden.
Yeah.
Do you, how long has the garden been around? Is this the first year?
This was the first year, actually. And they actually didn't know if they were going to be able to have it at the beginning of the year. Like, there was still some question about it. And so it was actually, like, all very last minute. Even though it was last minute, like, we've had such great success with it.
Excellent.
And such great food coming from it.
Those third graders planting those green beans, look out.
And it's really cool because we realized that, like, when a child plants something and watches it grow and waters it and knows where it came from, they're more likely to eat it and to want it.
Not my kids.
Really?
Not my kids. We have so many cherry tomato and grape tomato plants out in the backyard. They love picking them. And we have some strawberry plants. They love picking the strawberries.
They don't like strawberries?
It's funny. I have 2 kids. My daughter loves the strawberries from our garden. And they're little, and they're like, I don't know whether they're like super sweet or what, but they're good.
Yeah.
But they're only, like diameter of a dime.
Yeah.
It's like the biggest one. We might get up to diameter of a nickel, but that's about it. She'll eat those, but she refuses to eat any of the strawberries that I would buy at the grocery store.
Oh, that's weird.
And my son is the exact opposite. He likes those big honking strawberries that, take up his entire fist.
Of course, yeah.
He won't touch the ones in the garden.
That's so interesting.
So, I don't know. I'm like, here, why don't you make these, let's make your own pizza night. And,
I was going to say, I'm probably on the same page.
They love making them, but,
That's so funny. I was going to say, I'm probably on the same page with the tomatoes. I'm not really a big tomato fan, but I don't mind picking them.
Cherry tomatoes are fun, though. Again, right now I'm trying to figure out what to do with all these tomatoes around my house, because I get some at Farmer Dave's, I get some from the neighbors.
I know, you get so many.
I did not know, another tangent, I did not know that tomatoes reseed themselves.
I did not know that either.
Apparently they do, because last year I had 2 tomato plants.
And this year you have
And this
7.
year I gave away 50.
Oh, man.
I think I transplanted about 50 tomato plants.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't know that. All of a sudden these plants are coming up. I'm like, they look like tomatoes, and they sprouted tomatoes. So what do you know? So now I'm trying to figure out what to do with all these cherry tomatoes and grape tomatoes. And, brought some to Farmer Dave going, here you go. I don't want any more. And I know you have a bunch, but, so brought some to my neighbors, and they're like, oh. So, okay. So what kind of stuff do you grow in the community garden? Tomatoes!
Yeah, we do have a lot of tomatoes, and we had a lot of green beans.
Because those are easy to grow.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and so many. I think for the first 2 or 3 weeks I was here, all I harvested was green beans.
Well, I think like in school, it's hard, they're easy to grow and they're hard to kill. So here you go, kids.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, because you don't want to be that one little, 7-year-old that my plant didn't grow.
I know. I think that was probably me. But no, we have a lot of beans and we had a lot of zucchini this year.
That's like the only thing I can grow normally.
I know. I feel like zucchini plants, once they start, they never stop.
And the critters don't eat the zucchini plants because I think that the stems and the leaves
They're
are just prickly enough.
Yeah, the eggplant too. We had a lot of eggplant. Okay. And the eggplant, the tops of the eggplant that's connected to the plant, it'll get you. I got a few eggplant splinters.
Ow.
And we had cauliflower and broccoli and kale. Some melons like cantaloupes and some watermelons. I know we had.
I can't imagine growing, watermelon in my garden.
I know, it's so funny.
Mine would probably be about the size of a golf ball and stop.
I know. Well, a few of the ones that we've gotten have been I would say softball size.
Oh, wow.
Or maybe,
That's
a few.
Decent.
Yeah, and then we've had a few really big ones, but we haven't had any too tiny ones. So it's been pretty good. I think we also had dry beans too. So they grow and they're green and kind of wet, and you're like, oh, it's time to pick them and eat them, but you have to wait till they dry because they're the kind that you shell and you just eat the inside of the peas. So so I think that was, and we have turnips right now too growing. We haven't picked them yet, and cabbage.
Okay.
And that's about it for the garden this year, and that was one of the plans for next year, is since it was a little bit put together right before the growing season started, they want to organize it better and maybe have other things or more of some things and stuff.
And kind of spread out the harvesting and strawberries.
Yeah.
I think my strawberry plants are confused though, because isn't strawberry season June?
It's summer, yeah.
Okay, I get more in September than I do in June.
That's crazy.
I think they're confused.
I don't know. Maybe it was warmer here.
Okay, so looking on the website and I think Jane sent me a PowerPoint presentation. I'm kind of trying to get questions from that. Now, you mentioned, or what I was looking at mentioned, build skills in food choices, food sourcing, food preservation, and cooking.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned the cooking classes. What other events or how do you plan on building all of these skills?
Well, one of my projects that I've been working on is studying expiration dates.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of times, there are different dates and different codes and different numbers on foods in the store, and you don't know what they mean, and you're okay, well, can I eat this? Probably not. And so you throw it out. And a lot of people, they waste perfectly good food, and they waste their money too.
Yeah.
And so part of what I've been looking into is what the different...
Although I pulled something out of my cabinet from 2005, expires in 2005. I decided,
But,
that's a little too much. 6 months, maybe.
Yeah. So I've been...
9 years? No.
Yeah. I've been looking into what the different dates and different codes mean, and looking into different companies and seeing a lot of companies or some companies like General Mills, they put their sell by date as 60 to 90 days before food actually expires. Okay. So that way, I think part of it might be so stores have to keep buying food, but also all of that food is good to donate to because stores can't keep it past a certain date, and so then they're able to donate it to the pantry, and that's where my job comes in, because people think, oh, well, this is expired, I shouldn't take it, it won't be good, but if it still has 60 to 90 days on it, it's going to be fine. And so we're trying to decide how to go about giving out that information. Do you put it on a poster above the expired food section, or do you put it in a pamphlet so people can take it with them and maybe look into it while they're shopping for themselves in the store? Or do we host a class? What is necessarily the best way to do that? So that's another thing that I'm working on right now, because we haven't quite figured that out yet.
I kind of like the cheat sheet though, to keep with you, because it's even if you're in the store, then once you get home and like me going through the pantry
you're like, what
okay, fine, the 2005 stuff needs to be pitched, but this is,
and like signs of whether or not food is like bad or sour, or if you can still eat it. Because some foods,
like my mom's test. Here, smell this.
Yeah, that's what it says a lot. It says a lot of times when I was looking it up, like how to tell if different foods are bad, it says use your senses. Like if it has mold on top of it, probably don't eat it. If it smells sour, maybe you shouldn't eat it. But if it doesn't, you're probably okay.
Here, eat this. Yeah. Taste this. Does it taste bad?
Yeah. I'm like, I don't want to taste it. It's going to taste bad now you ask me.
Exactly. That's my point. Or, you get this block of cheese and there's mold on it. I'll just scrape off the mold. Yeah, but
that's
if
what my
mom
does. She's like, let me just cut it out and you
can
still eat it.
I don't know. Okay. Another thing that I saw in the little PowerPoint presentation is a smart shopper, or smarter shopper. How do you define a smarter shopper?
Well, I actually wasn't sure, so I had to ask about that one. But what we really talked about was the fact that a smart shopper is, budget conscious, but also looking for foods in their budget that's probably a healthier choice. That it's not just empty calories. It's not just sugar or junk food. It's sustainable stuff that you can eat, stuff that will keep you filled.
So you mean fruit roll-ups really aren't produce?
Probably not. I'm going to go with no. I mean, Gushers might be, but not fruit roll-ups.
It's a joke, a little tiny joke. Okay.
But just things like that. And maybe, taking advantage of sales and seeing what types of fruits and vegetables, because every grocery store has a clearance section, seeing what's there that you can still eat, that you would still want to eat, that is within your budget, but that's also a healthier choice for you and for your family.
So the day-old bakery shelf probably should not be frequented because, the brownies are not as healthy as some other options in the store.
I mean, I would probably frequent it, but maybe not.
I'll peruse it. See what's there.
I can window shop.
Yeah, I can window shop. I probably shouldn't bring home the half-sheet cake, that says "Happy Birthday, Gladys."
Yeah, maybe not, but it looks good.
But the bagels, maybe that's a smarter option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely then a sheet cake.
Okay. We already talked briefly about the cooking classes. Now, all of these programs that you are doing or that you hope to do, are they meant just for the clientele of the food pantry, or are they going to be open to anyone, or?
I think right now, like I said with the cooking classes, we want to be able to open it up to everyone, because I think that these are lessons that everyone can benefit from. I could benefit from learning how to cook a spaghetti squash. I have 3 of them at home, and I don't really know what to do with them.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I know what to do. I wouldn't know if I recognize a spaghetti squash.
So I think even things about expiration dates and learning about the codes on food, everyone struggles with that, and I think it's something that everyone can benefit from, because it's ultimately saving you money, and it's not it's reducing your negative impact on the earth, when you don't toss it out and it doesn't go to the landfill. So I think it's something that everyone could benefit from, and so hopefully we can open it up.
Okay. Now, you were talking about expiration dates and, stream of consciousness here was also thinking about, just reading labels in general and portion size and just common factors. Do you envision your program, either you specifically or one of your, one of the people that comes after you, not your predecessor, I forgot the word for the opposite, but do you see any research or any training done in reading the labels and finding out, getting the biggest bang for your buck? And
hopefully. I know that a lot of stuff that I've been working on is stuff that they wanted to have for the future too, so it'll be there after I'm gone.
Okay.
So I just did a picture produce guide for for the
Tell
pantry.
me more about that.
I know, I was so excited about it.
This is kohlrabi.
Yeah.
This is kale.
Basically, that's what it is. It's I made cards, pretty much note cards. We're still like working out the kinks, but basically what it's going to be is like a note card that has like the picture of the vegetable or the fruit on it, and then it says like similar to, and it says like vegetables that it's similar to, or like what it tastes like, and then it says like how to cook, and so a few easy ideas of what to do with it. And so what we want to do is laminate these cards and like put Velcro on the back, and then at the pantry, all of the produce is on like these like shelves, and so put Velcro on the shelves so I can just, so you can trade them out, and like you stack the shelf first, then you see where everything is, and you just put them up, and then people can go through and say, oh, that's what that is, and like me or someone else can be there.
You need a home version of that.
Exactly.
Everyone. It's like, you know, I look at the pictures at the CSA and I'm going, oh, okay, that's what it is. That's what it is. You put it in the bag and get home and it's green.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone keeps saying, I wish I could just take you home with me. And
I know. It's green. It's green.
I know. I've gotten to the point where I can like taste the different greens that look alike and be able to tell you what they are, which I'm pretty proud of, because before this I like probably wouldn't have even tried.
But, you know, but the card thing, I mean, that's kind of a cool thing if you can find like a way to mass produce them.
Yeah, exactly. And just like the fact that it's there, like besides a person, because people aren't always comfortable like talking to people or like meeting strangers and stuff. And so like with that there, you can see like what it is and like how how like a person would describe it and like how a person would want to cook it, but you don't necessarily have to like look to someone for help, or you can if you want to, you know. So I think that's pretty cool.
Speaking of, you know, you mentioned on the card, you know, this is X, similar to or taste like.
Yeah.
Now there was something at the CSA. I know I'm going to put you on the spot. There was cauliflower.
Yes.
And
oh, it's from Monesco.
Is that the green, the kind of like pyramid thingies? And it was really good. Tastes a lot like cauliflower.
It's awesome. Yeah. I looked at a picture of it because I started on the picture guide before we got it. And
it's like something you'd want to put as a centerpiece.
Exactly. I literally called my parents and said, we have a vegetable that looks like a math problem. And they were like, Amanda, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But I think it's awesome. I hate broccoli. Like I just don't like it. And so I like to tell the clients that it's like fun broccoli because it's green like broccoli, but it looks cooler. But you cook it the same way as you would like broccoli or cauliflower. And we roasted it in the oven with like some cheese on it, and it was divine. I would
Darn, because I used all of I had some cauliflower and I mulched it all up. I know mulch sounds like a really disgusting word, but put it in my little food processor and I made
Did you make a soup?
I made cauliflower fritters.
See, that would be awesome.
And they were really, really good.
Delightful.
And I didn't have enough cauliflower for the recipe, so I used the Romanesco.
Yeah.
Mixed it all together. They were green. And my daughter's like, it's green. I don't want to eat it. But my son's like, I'll try it. You know, just smother it in cheese.
Of course,
you know, maybe he'll eat it. But yeah, we put a little bit of shredded cheese on it. And, it was very good. But yeah, it's like really easy.
Yeah, and the same thing, and like with vegetables too, like a lot of the greens, like Swiss chard, people are like, well, what is that? But
it's good.
It tastes like, exactly. It tastes like spinach. Like you cook it like you would cook spinach. So it's easy. Like you pull things that are familiar to people, like, because I wouldn't have known how to cook Swiss chard, and then someone was like, oh, like spinach, and I was like, oh, so you can like saute it or put it in a stir fry or like put it on pizza or put it in a salad, put it in soup, and I was like, okay, well that's a thing that I can do. Yeah. So I think it also like makes people more comfortable with unfamiliar things.
Yeah, well, this summer at our house, it was mystery stir fry every Monday night.
Yeah.
Because I would get back from the CSA going, okay, that looks like it would fit in a stir fry. That looks like it would. Throw everything together, throw a little bit of, you know, soy sauce in.
I know.
My husband would come home.
Our go-to
smells
is
like a Chinese restaurant.
Our go-to is like chopping things up and roasting it in the oven together.
Like the roasting.
So
I like the roasting concept.
Yeah, we roasted some kohlrabi with some beets, and it was pretty good. We made like a roasted salad. So
now, how long would you cook something like that? Because I've been splitting a CSA with a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And I make her take all the beets because I'm like, I don't know how to cook beets. Here, you take them.
We do them usually. Well, One of my roommates likes them a little crunchy, and then one of my roommates likes them very soft. So, like, depending on how you like your food is, like, the amount of time you'll cook it. So, I also like things a little crunchy, so we did it for, like, 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay.
And then my other roommate put hers back in the oven for another 20 to 30 minutes. So it just depends on how, like, done, I guess, you want it. Yeah.
Okay. Talked about some other, you talked about the movie screening on October 16th.
Yes.
We talked about the dream of having cooking classes. Talked about, now if somebody wanted to get involved, I know I'm obsessing with the community garden. If somebody wanted to get involved in planning next year, when would the planning start?
I know that it's probably going to start as soon as we're done with this season.
Okay.
But a way to get involved with the garden, there are posters around town that we took to different, like, businesses. Like, they're at the library. I think we took some to, like, Roche Brothers and to Shaw's and to Market Basket and stuff. And it's like, the posters that say, like, it'll be like, be a part of the Burlington area community garden, and then it'll have, like, the different tabs at the bottom that you can pull off, and, like, you have an email address or a phone number.
Okay. But you could probably, since it's organized by the chamber, you could probably go to the chamber's website.
Yeah, I think it would be on the chamber's website. And I know that you can always contact the food pantry if you want to become involved. Or, like, there's all the posters are around the food pantry too. So also if you want to come volunteer.
I'm volunteering for the pumpkin patch in a couple of weeks.
Ooh, I might come buy one for my house.
It's a lot of fun.
It looks like fun. It's so cute out there with all those different scarecrows dressed up as superheroes.
I miss Scarecrow Night, but last year I loved some of the scarecrows, like the scarecrow with the curlers in her hair and the big fluffy bathrobe and the bunny slippers.
Yeah, I think my favorite one is the Spider-Man scarecrow.
There's a Spider-Man one this year? Oh, how cool. See, I'm remembering from last year because I haven't been there yet. This year. Okay, what other kinds of events do you envision to improve awareness around the impact of our current food consumption? I did that voice because it was a quote from the presentation.
I gotcha. I understand. And it was quite a mouthful. I think another thing that we want to do is we want to have, like, speakers come in, like maybe someone who runs a farm, like Farmer Dave.
Farmer Dave.
Yeah,
he was on my show twice.
See, and I haven't even met him yet. Or have someone, like a dietitian, come in and speak, or have like a panel of several people. And I thought it would be interesting to have maybe someone who owns a farm-to-table restaurant, because wouldn't that be cool? Like someone who only buys and cooks local food, to talk about how,
Is it Henrietta's Kitchen in Cambridge or something that does that?
I think so. I think
so. Like watching one of my kids' shows, or my children's shows. And they did like a segment.
Yeah.
I think it was Henrietta's Kitchen, and they were talking about what are the names of them? They look like white carrots.
Oh, it's a radish. I can't remember. Daikon radish.
I don't remember what it is. No, I think it was something else. But anyway, they were talking about buying local and serving it at. Okay.
And I think it would be interesting to see, like, to maybe have like a question and answer time, so people can ask, like, what prompted you to do a farm to table restaurant? Like, why do you think it's important to support local farms and the local economy? Like, things like that, because it's a different side to food justice than a lot of people see and that a lot of people are exposed to. So.
And I'm also thinking, if their restaurant, if they solely rely on locally grown, what happens when it's a bad season for X, Y, or Z? How do you develop your business? How do you adapt your business plan? Because you don't want to go to Chile for whatever.
Exactly.
Or Guatemala for whatever. So.
And we were thinking maybe, like, at some point have like a book discussion, like just with, because there are so many books out there about like food justice and the food justice movement, or like eating local, or like farm to table. Like, we read a great book called Animal Vegetable Miracle by Barbara Kingsolver.
Okay.
She wrote the Poison Well Bible. That's the one she's most famous for.
Okay.
But it's just about how for a year her family decided to only eat locally and how like it affected them and how basically how they survived it, you know?
How they survived.
It's hard. Like right now, my roommates and I are actually doing a local food challenge too.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, it's really lucky.
How long is this challenge supposed to last?
It's until the end of January.
Wow.
So,
Okay,
you
that
know
is
how you
challenging.
asked about preservation?
Yeah.
I'm really good at it. That's what we do. It's really lucky, you know.
Freeze-dried everything.
Exactly. It's really lucky that we're, like, not only am I volunteering for the CSA, but we're receiving the CSA because a lot of that goes into food preservation. And we have frozen a lot of stuff, and like we've made soups and frozen soups, but we've also canned things too. I can can tomatoes now. So
I am so curious how to like can stuff.
it is a very long process.
And like, you know, preserving in the jars and, you know, the mason jars. I'm like, that seems too
I know.
labor intensive for me.
It was extremely labor intensive, but I think once it's, you know, the dead of winter and we're craving a pizza, we'll be very, very happily rewarded. But
Now, does pizza count?
if we make it, right?
Okay. I wasn't sure if, you know, the pizza dough,
Oh
if,
no,
you know, the wheat had to
my
be.
roommate thankfully is very good at making bread and pretty much doughs of any kind. So, you know, I think I was the one who brought the least experience to the table. I just lucked out because I have two roommates who are very good at cooking.
There you go. Yeah, see, I can call for takeout, and that's about, you know, the best. But would you were nervous about an hour.
I
doing an hour
was
show,
very
and
nervous.
would you believe we're all done?
No.
Yeah. How cool is that?
Oh man.
Okay, so I do want to thank you
Yeah.
for joining me, and I
definitely.
learned so much, and this was such a fun conversation, and I feel bad for who's ever working audio tonight because, you know, we're just so excited. But thank you very much, and
Thank you
best
for
of luck
having me.
to
Thank
you.
you.
When does the program end? August?
It ends in July.
July. Okay.
Yes.
Well, have a fun season, and
Thank
good luck
you.
with that food challenge.
Yeah, I'll have to tell you how it goes.
Because I'm only going to see you for like 2 more weeks on Mondays.
I know. How
Because we're not
sad.
doing the winter one. But anyway, and I do want to thank everyone at home for joining us this evening. Hopefully you found tonight's conversation as equally entertaining as I have. And I look forward to seeing you around town. Thanks so much. Good night.